Welcome, Earth Angels, to another episode of Earth Angel Journeys. So glad you are stopping by today. I have a special guest, Miranda Powell, and she's going to be talking about dragons. Well, they're not the dragons that you would see in comic books, and they're not the dragons that you see on TV. These are energy dragons, and we're going to be talking about what they do, how they connect with you, and how they can help us all. So you want to stick around because we're going to have everything about energy dragons right here on this show. And if you want to work with these wonderful mystical creatures, stay with us. Coming up right after this. Let's get started.
So it's very interesting because there are certain light bearers that are being woken up and are becoming aware of their work with the dragon realm. Just like some people work with angels, some people work with unicorns, some people work with dragons, and some people work with all of them. And so because the dragon energy has come to the earth, it's been here, it just woke up. It's reactivating the light bearers who are to help with healing the earth, healing humankind, and helping with the evolving of all of us. So when you invoke them, not everybody who invokes, through, because I wrote all these invocations that are in the calendar, I wrote them. Right. So when you are invoking them, the dragons aren't always going to come. But when they do, it means that you are waking up, they experience, and I'm so excited about talking about them because, when they came to me in 2016, I thought, oh my God, I work with angels. I just work with angels. I don't know this dragon thing. And they were persistent, and I still was, I'm working with these angels. And it was the angels who said, here, Miranda, and introduced me to the dragons. And once the angels step into that space, I know that I have to do it. So that's when I started working with them. And then it's been so easy and it's been flowy. I've made 2 calendars.
I have to tell you, I love your calendar.
Oh, thank you. I love it. This was my calendar for this year. So, and the law of vibration is in here. Wow. So this calendar is the 12 laws of the universe. And so I actually have a story for each month. I talk about the law and I talk about what the dragons taught me for that law. So I have that. So these are the 12 laws of the universe in this year's calendar. And then next year's calendar are the rays of light, the 12 rays of light. So yeah, so I've been connecting with them, and I'm writing my book and basically taking what the calendars both have, infusing them in a book with a lot of information I didn't put in the calendars because they're just calendars, and really putting information in so you guys have more. Because all the things that I've seen out there, because my artist also works with dragons, she's been working with them for a long time, and we haven't really found a lot of information out there that isn't silly. I'm not trying to be mean, and forgive me that I say that out loud. That isn't silly stuff. Like some people say, you need to ride your dragon. Okay, dragons are masters of light. If we're made of light, we're not riding anything. They actually have more control over us than we do of a dragon. So it's that ego self that we have, that we think we have full control of them when we do not. And so it's very, very interesting. And I think that the information that they're sharing is, they're very serious beings. So they're loving and serious, and they just know that they have a job to do, and they're very serious about protection, that evolving for the earth and for ourselves. They have the key. They're the masters. They have the key to our own evolution and the earth's evolution. So it's so extraordinary to, just to have the privilege of working with them, that they called me, that I heard the call and I denied it. And so I heard the call again and I denied it again. And then the angels came in and go, hey, Miranda. And I was like, okay. And then I started working with them, and it has not been quiet. I've been busy. So the artist who creates all the dragons for me So basically what happens is I tell her what I see, and then and I tell her what I want somewhat in the picture, and then she sits with it in meditation and begins to create it. And then she'll add what she picks up, because like I said, she's been working with dragons for a while. So all the dragons that are in both calendars are part of the art that's going to be in my oracle deck. Yeah. Yeah, that's coming out. That should be, we're on target right now. She had an accident and broke her hand, broke her wrist. So she was out of commission for a few months. So we're getting back on track. So now it looks like right around the end of spring, we should have the deck available, or at least going to print at that.
Yes.
Yeah, we've been working on it for a couple of years.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot of work. A lot of people don't know how much work really goes into these decks and to anything. I mean, a calendar takes me 6-7 months to put together.
Mm-hmm. That's cool.
So it's exciting. It's a great path. And, I never at any point thought that I would be sitting and getting interviewed for dragon information. I always thought it would be angelic and all of this, but there's so much interest right now in dragons. And since I put out these calendars, more and more people have been contacting me and wanting to talk about them.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty interesting.
It was, as a child, I never, I saw shows about dragons, and you also think about dragons in the character, like you said, in character form, mm-hmm. or in like the Game of Thrones type of picturesque type of thing. And
right.
I never thought about working with dragons, because I was with the angels as well.
Mm-hmm.
And with the experience that I just had with the dragon behind me, he was on this side, on my right side.
Yeah.
And I called, because I work with Archangel Faith, Archangel mm-hmm. Gabriel, and Raphael.
Yeah.
And so
mm-hmm.
Archangel Gabriel stays on my left side all the time.
Yeah.
Well, when I called for Archangel Gabriel to go to work with me for this show today, mm-hmm. he stood on my left, and as I was calling him, the dragon looked over to my left, mm-hmm. and he knew he was going to be on my left side, because that's where he always would stand. So right. I thought it was cool that the dragon kind of looked over and was waiting for him to show up. I was like, well, this is craziness.
Many years ago, I think it was, I want to say it was like spring of 2016, is when I first had my first real dragon experience. And the dragon came through when I was working with the archangels. So Archangel Gabriel, I was in Mount Shasta, and Archangel Gabriel actually showed up in my room, and I thought, what is that? What is going on? And then I had a whole event happen. It was crazy. And that was the door opener to dragon work. It was Archangel Gabriel came in and kind of opened that door, told me to trust him, and everything happened. It was a crazy experience.
So they're connected in some way, obviously, because they felt it was almost like a mutual respect for each other, that they're standing behind me.
Yes, the archangels work deeply with the dragons. They work deeply with the dragons. I always say as above, so below. So you have the celestial beings, which are, the angels, and the dragons are actually earth beings. They are protectors of the earth. So everything that they do is for the elements, because they control the elements. And so they're very much earth-based beings. Yes, we have celestial dragons, but they are very much earth-based beings. So it's very, very interesting how well that they work with the angels. And it was, like I said, it was the angels who introduced them to me. It was Archangel Gabriel who showed me first. And then after that whole experience, you would have thought that once I had this massive experience, that when, after that happened, I would start working with dragons, and I did not. And it was when I was in meditation, Archangel Raziel came in and said, "Hey, Miranda." And then, because that is that is the archangel that has been with me for a very, very long time. So when Archangel Raziel talks to me, I listen. I definitely listen. And so that's when I started my path with the dragons. So dragons are what I said earlier. They are masters of peace and light. So that's what they are. So they master the light, and they are masters of peace. They really want harmony for the earth, for us, for this universe. And they've been awakened again, and are activating really deep connections within so many of us. And those are those light bearers that we were talking about earlier, so that we can remember our connections to them and to invite them in to show us the pieces of ourselves that we've been missing this whole time. You know, sometimes, you know, when you've lived your life, you lose your way a little bit, you lose your path. And so, you know, the dragons are coming back at this time to help illuminate that way. And for a lot of light bearers, you know, we have that deep connection with the dragons. Dragons are warriors of light, and they are a collective of souls who service the light. That's what they do, just like the angels. And when we think of light, we're thinking of our creator. So with the Earth's consciousness evolving, many of us are shifting into those frequencies to assist and, you know, help the Earth, and to make the energetic transition for the earth and for ourselves. So the dragons are these powerful forces that are protecting the earth and are lighting the power of the dragon lines. And the dragon lines are the ley lines that run under our earth, which we can also call the chakra system and the meridians that kind of run under the earth. And I just recently, last August, I went to Stonehenge, which is the heart chakra of the world. But it also has ancient dragon lines that run underneath Stonehenge. And, you know, there's a whole story on how I even got to Stonehenge. So do you remember earlier I was talking about how I was in Mount Shasta, which also has ley lines or dragon lines underneath them. And when I was there, I was with a friend. It was in 2016, and it was in late spring. And while I was there, we had some experiences that were kind of crazy, some really anomalies that I could never really talk about because it's just crazy stuff. And so the girl that I was with was really scared, and we went back to our room. And while we were in the room, she went into the bathroom. She was feeling sick, and I was sitting out, and I thought, I need to meditate and ground some of this crazy energy that's we've experienced. And all of a sudden, Archangel Gabriel came into the room, and I looked up, and Gabriel was massive, and he's never projected this massive energy to me. I mean, he's always been somewhat big, but never like 12 feet, 15 feet big. And so he came in very powerfully, and he said, Miranda, you need to trust me. And I looked at him, I said, okay, but I don't know why you're here. Why do you look that way? And the next thing I know, the bottom of my spine heated up. And all of a sudden, I felt nauseous. And I was holding onto the chair that I was sitting on, and I looked over at him, I said, what's happening? And then he told me to hold on. And the next thing I remember feeling like I was floating. And I felt like darkness was around me, but he was next to me, and I could hear in a distance someone talking. And I started to hear, once I started to calm down and started to focus, I could hear what was being said. So when I came back to myself, my lower back was killing me. It was like on fire. And I was slumped over in my seat. I thought, what the heck just happened? I felt sick. The girl that was in the bathroom with me came out. She was in tears, crying, and she was holding up her phone trying to record what I was saying. So I was basically being used as a channel. And this message was coming through that I was listening to with Archangel Gabriel in a distance, and she was trying to record it. She was shaking, and there was all this noise, and so we didn't really get the full recording, but we did make out a lot of what was said, but it wasn't my voice. It wasn't my voice at all. She said even my face changed, and it freaked her out. She was sitting in the corner of the room just bawling. She was so scared. And so it was basically what this being was saying was that I was meant to work with the dragon lines, and that I would be working with the dragon lines to clear them. I didn't understand that. I really didn't understand that. So anyway, after we kind of went through the information, I didn't understand half. It was very puzzling. I really didn't understand what was being said. So I ignored it. I didn't do anything with it. And then about a week or two later, I was meditating. I was home at that point, and I was meditating, and Archangel Raziel came into the meditation, and he was holding up this big oval mirror. This mirror was huge, taller than Raziel. And when I looked down, there was another person holding the bottom part of the mirror, and it looked like Merlin. I know that sounds crazy, but it looked like Merlin. And Raziel told me, Miranda, you need to walk through the mirror. So I did. And I walked through the mirror, and when I came out on the other side, I was wearing a cloak, and my hands were in prayer position. And then I hear a roar. I look up, and I see a dragon flying in the air. It looked black, but by the time it kind of got closer, I could see it was actually brown. And it said, I am Earth. And I thought, what the heck? And I thought, in my head, I was thinking, it's because I'm an Earth sign. I'm a Capricorn, so maybe it has that to do. I didn't have a clue. And then he blew this fire on my head, on the top of my head. And then I just felt like I understood, and there was this connection. And after that, he didn't look like a Celtic dragon. He had a Celtic face, but his body was like the Asian dragons that have the snake-like body, and he was brown. He told me he was Earth, so I knew he was an Earth dragon. And he, he just flew away. And then I looked around my surroundings, and I knew I was in Scotland. I didn't know how, but I knew I was in Scotland. I was on this cliff area. So I go back through the mirror, and I wake up out of my meditation. And so I journal it, and Archangel Raziel is still talking to me and telling me I need to begin to work with the dragons. And so I thought I didn't know how. So I took a journal out, and I just started writing. And then as I was doing it, visions started popping in my head, and I began to write. And that's where the Oracle deck came from. I contacted a friend who does art, and we talked about it, and then found out that she was a big dragon lover and had been working with dragons. And I started meditating with them and working with them, and the book information and these calendars came from that. So I think that the dragons have returned to Earth to help assist us all in awakening on our path, helping the Earth awaken on its path, and helping us to work towards healing and our own empowerment. So I think that that's why the dragons have returned, in my opinion anyway. And so it's just been this amazing path that it's still taking me by surprise, some of the things that happen. Because, I'm learning, one of the biggest things that I've learned with the dragons is that they're very effective and powerful spiritual protectors, and they are great teachers and healers. That was something that I absolutely learned. They are masters of the Earth's elements, which, when you think of dragons, you always think of the 4 elements, right? Fire, water, air, and earth. And this helps us, I guess, with that ability that they have of mastering the elements. Through this, they can help us to heal ourselves and others, understand Earth's energy and Earth's magic, remember the ancient mysteries of the world, and I think that's what we're doing. That's what the 12 laws of the universe are, like the law of vibration, and the 12, the divine light of Creator. I think that that's where that comes from. That these are very ancient mysteries, and we're beginning to see through the illusion that's present in our modern time or lives. So, when I started to do this dragon work, started to clear the ley lines. I did every new moon and full moon. I did different work on different parts of the world. The dragons would tell me exactly what I needed to do, where I needed to do it the night of the moon. So I intuitively knew to grab certain crystals, and I began to do the clearing of the Earth. I'm an energy healer as well in a lot of different energy modalities. So I utilized all of that I knew, and I began to clear these dragon lines or ley lines of the Earth. And I noticed, as a year went by, I noticed that we missed one whole chakra system and one whole dragon line. And the birth of dragons happened in Avebury, England. So I was like, and that's not too, it's about 30 minutes outside of Stonehenge. And I was thinking, how come we haven't cleared those lines yet? Because, you have the tour is there. And I thought, why wouldn't we do that area? And then I asked them in a meditation, and they told me that I was actually going to go there. I was like, I'm not going to go to England. Now, this was in February. I went to England in August. Fast forward, somehow I ended up in England in August. I ended up at Stonehenge. I ended up doing energy work on the ley lines underneath Stonehenge. I sat on the ground for over an hour doing the work. And then my tour guide took me to Avebury, and that is the birth of dragons. And the most interesting thing that happened to me while I was there was that we went through and looked at the stones and everything, because there's stone formations just like there is in Stonehenge. And when we finished looking, I went into the store with my girls, and I didn't really need anything, so I was letting them shop, and I was kind of leaning on a table, this small table, and my hand was on something, so I lifted it up and I said, what is this? And it was a picture of a dragon, and it was the earth dragon that came to me in my vision when I did that meditation the year before. So here this dragon is with this Celtic head and the snake body. It's brown, and it was an earth dragon. And I was like, are you kidding me? So I ended up buying that print because that's my dragon.
Right.
So so it's just that kind of stuff that they always remind me, hey, here we are, we're here, we haven't left you. So I just think that when we say we can't control dragons, I'm telling you, we do not. They are magical spiritual beings that really seek to empower humanity's physical, mental, spiritual, and emotional well-being. And they are helping us to see through, the illusion. These dragons know that we are able to return to understanding and embracing our I am presence. And we have begun to move into the we are presence, which shows that we are all one. So it's moving into the law of oneness, which is the first law of the universe, out of the 12 universal laws. And that is very important that we begin to move into now from the I am, because we know we begin to understand who we are, and now we are coming together collectively as the we are presence, and we're experiencing our full connection and oneness with the divine creator and with all of existence. And it is through working with the dragons that is helping open that up. These dragons have this great ability that they carry in the power of transmutation and transcendence and transformation. And I think that these energies go hand in hand. And that's why my 2019 calendar for 2019, they told me, was the year of transformation. So I knew that they were working with us to begin to transform, transcend, transmute energetically. And this year is the year of mastery. It is us working through the I am present. The I am, when we're mastering ourselves, we're basically learning who we are, what our power is, and accepting and loving ourselves for who we are. That is what this year's been about. Mm-hmm. Next year is really going to be about releasing, letting go the things that are not serving us, so we can move into the we are presence. And so that's why this calendar is the year of transformation. And so, and the book that I'm working on is talking all about that. And how we're transitioning and we're growing. And I think that there's so much that we can still learn. And I think that, when we think of the dragon of old days, many cultures, look at dragons as strength and transformational qualities. But there's been many cultures who believe that they were to be feared. I don't necessarily think we need to fear them. I think we need to respect them, because they are the masters of the 4 elements. They have the knowledge, the ancient etheric knowledge of our evolution, our personal evolution, the Earth's evolution, humanity's evolution. They have the ability to transcend 3rd dimensional energy limitations and really come from a higher vibration. So I think that we as a human race are transcending our limitations and beginning to claim our mastery of the elements within ourselves. And that's why this year is the year of mastery. So we're really entering into higher dimensions of joy and light and manifestations, and we're evolving very, very quickly. And that's why I think, like, you had your experience where the dragons have come to you, you had an experience right into your third eye area. You know, I believe that light bearers are waking up. I think that's what's happening. And, you know, I believe that we are beginning to remember, we're beginning to share the light and share this understanding. I know that I came to understand that life occurs, you know, as a series of cycles. And in any human's lifetime or lifespan, the first cycle is always conception, right? So we think about it, that life is conception, and then the last cycle we think of as death. But death isn't the end, it's the start of a new cycle. So when we're looking at cycles, rather than separating the cycles, they all exist as a spiral. So think of it as a spiral. And there is a flow, and everything is connected, so we can blossom into our fullest potential. And that's how I think that we are as a human race. And that's how the dragons show it to me, is when we see the yin and yang dragon, kind of when they're swirling together. You can't have one without the other. So it wouldn't be a yin and yang dragon. We wouldn't have the law of polarity like we have in the 12 laws of the universe, because you have to have both sides. You have to have good and bad, light and dark. You have to have two sides to it. So that spiral is that connection of divine oneness, which is the first law of the universe. And I think that that's what the dragons are trying to show us, is that everything is connected. So we're not separate. Just the I am is just our own personal energy and being, but we are a part of a puzzle. And we're not at our fullest power until we're connected with other pieces of the puzzle. That's each and every one of us. So we're starting to make that connection, and that's the we are energy that we're connecting into. And I think that before we can transform, we have to break down in some way. You know, I think a lot of people that I've worked with, you know, when they have found their spiritual path or their spiritual way, they've had a crisis of some type. And it has opened them up to having faith in something bigger than themselves. Some part of us needs to be buried or broken in order to be transformed. And I think that is a process, and it's a very painful process, but it's one of those magical and enlightening experiences that we all have. And it's really a huge part of our own self-mastery. So I know I'm talking a lot, and I just feel like there's so much to share. They so much to offer us. You know, I know that your big thing is you wrote a book on the law of vibration. Mm-hmm. And I find that just extraordinary because, you know, each law has so much to offer. And I think that we can delve into each of these 12 laws of the universe and really learn something. I mean, I really think that we can really uncover so much from this ancient knowledge. And that's what the dragons brought forward, is this really ancient knowledge of these laws of the universe. And part of what they taught me is that we cannot talk about manifesting our vision, our prosperity, our abundance without exploring the power of intention. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that they told me was the power of intention is going to be very important, that we're thinking about, you know, when we're thinking about holding a vision of manifesting, like, let's say, abundance and prosperity, that intention is about aligning with the passions in our life. And it's going to lead to a higher purpose. And we begin to tap into that divine force of the universe, leading us into manifesting with much more ease. But we need to realize our dreams, and we need to vibrationally match our beliefs and desires. I think that is where the law of vibration is really important, is that what we want, we have to match that vibration. And this is the law of vibration. The emotions of a higher vibration, such as gratitude and appreciation and purpose, you know, that love enhances it. So it connects us to universal energies and source, and it helps us to tap into our higher purpose. Most people fail in the manifesting process because they don't believe they'll actually ever get what they want. And this is part of that old programming. So when we change our attitude and our feelings, that is the key to success, because then we're vibrationally matching to what we feel, what we want is what we want to manifest. We want to manifest it as long as we're vibrationally in alignment with it. Mm-hmm. But it can only be done if we change our belief system. And that is part of that self-mastery that I've been teaching this year through the dragons, and through this one in self-mastery, is that you have to get into alignment. You have to tap into the law of vibration and get into alignment with what is it that you want in your life, and to believe it, to see it, to feel it, to know it, to become a vibrational match in what you're manifesting. Because our consciousness is an aligning force. So whatever we focus our attention and energy on, we can attract whether we want it or not. So that alignment can be with nature, the essence of ourselves and others, and with Creator. So the best indicator of how we get aligned or we are to source energy would be through our emotions. And one of the biggest things that I've been teaching everybody this year through what the dragons taught me is that our emotions are everything. And it's not even knowing that we're mad, but why are you mad? What was the trigger? And what would be a better choice or a better reaction that you could have taken on? Why did you pick that particular thing? And the same with joy. Why you know that you feel joyful, but why do you feel joyful? So when we feel joy, peace, love, and harmony, the more in alignment we are, the easier we're going to be able to manifest. The lower energies of fear and doubt help to resist and make it more difficult to move into that alignment. So I think that it's challenging for us sometimes to try to move into or to buy into the concept that we create our own reality. And it's also hard to imagine that we could create negative consequences for ourselves. But when we're not in alignment, that's of course what we do. Much of what we create comes from our unconscious self. This is why it's really, important to stay in awareness. One of the many purposes that we have in our spiritual journey is to shift from an unconscious state of being into a conscious state of being. So when we're in a conscious state of being, we can create a reality that we want. And that conscious state of being is sitting in awareness of our emotions, of how we're feeling, of what energy we're putting out. That law of vibration, what we put out comes back to us. The inner work that we do, the more conscious we become and the more masterful we will be at the art of co-creating that life that we're looking to create or what we actually want in. The dragons, they appear and they're ready to work with us on a subconscious level. They've probably been trying to work with us a little bit and to see if we were ready. And now they're simply coming in. I mean, now we're at a level where they know that they can move in because our awareness is there. Each invocation is calling in the energies, these ancient energies, and they're going to come in very powerful. The first three are the most powerful because those are the lights of Creator. They are like, think of the color wheel. When you think red, blue, and yellow, that's the primary colors of the color wheel. So they have nothing filtering them out. They are pure lights. So they are the most powerful energy you're going to tap into in the first three. And then as you go into the next, I think it's the next five, then they become a little bit filtered. Those are those like secondary colors, because then you have the mixtures of colors together, right? Like red and blue make the violet one. So, you're going to start mixing colors. And then by the time that you get to the last few, they are mixtures of 2 and 3 of the colors of vibrations together. And so you're getting all kinds of different energies coming through. And then when you hit that last light, the gold, it is out of this world. The gold is just out of this world. It encompasses everything. It is the new world. It is the new light. It is the new energy that's coming in. And the way that I had Kim Dreyer do the art, this particular dragon needed to look like the wise one, the very wise one that understands. And she did a really great job. She even did the third eye on it. Because this is really the light of God. This is as above, so below. This is the oneness energy. This is the we are. This is the all-encompassing. So all the light colors came together into the gold, and it's just amazing. So I just think that there's lots of information that we're now being exposed to that's helping us to activate our ascension process much faster. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what's happening. I think that we are starting to ground more. We're starting to move more, connect more. Our process of moving into an ascension process is that we are starting to release all the things around us and move into more into our physical being, our physical self, moving into that transitional time. But our light bodies, it's almost like all of our light bodies are merging together. It's very, very powerful, very powerful stuff right now happening.
And that's what I feel with my with earth angels. When I say earth angels, that's exactly what I mean. We're called. Light workers are earth angels, and we're here for a purpose, and we're here to expand consciousness, to help move people forward. And that's what it's all about. That's what the show's about. And that's what I was called for, is to bring that vibration together and move through and let the light workers come and let everyone know what's going on.
Absolutely. And that's the thing. The dragons are working. That's why I think dragons and angels really work close together, because they're so similar. Dragons' energy basically allows certain frequencies to get to our planet, to get to us. And they help us to control the balance of the earth and the energies that are coming within ourselves. So because they're holders of a coded information, just like the angels are very much aware of it, we continue to grow and evolve as a people and as a planet. So we're choosing, they are choosing, the angels and the dragons and all these beings of light are really working with and choosing people that are ready, these light bearers, these light beings that are ready to help them do the work, because we have to do this collectively. So, I think that that's what's happening. So when we're thinking of, dragons overall, they are amazing, magical, spiritual beings that are here and are seeking to empower humanity. And like I said, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, by helping us to see through the illusion. And they're really here, they've returned to help us understand and embrace that I am, but mostly the we are presence. I think that's why we're experiencing these full connections now. I think that we're all waking up. And, even for the people that aren't meant to work with dragons, just honoring them, just like if they can't see angels and they can't feel them or hear them, doesn't mean that they're not there. Doesn't mean the dragons are not there. It just means that we can still honor them, right? We can still honor the work, because when we're sharing our light with the world and honoring other beings of light, we're honoring them. I think that we are tapping into the we are presence still the same. So I think that these are amazing times. I really do.
Absolutely. And I think with this, we were talking about, it's all about manifesting and transforming and going into the transformation of next year.
That's right.
That's what it's all about, right?
Yeah. As of October 31st, which is considered a pagan New Year's, because it's believed that, it is, because pagans follow the cycle of the seasons. And so it's considered the last harvest. So it is actually a celebration of that the earth is going to sleep until spring. And that is also a symbolism of the new year, that we start new, we make those intentions, we start transforming, we start cleaning out, we start getting ready and start setting our goals for the new year. So I have found that from October 31st until the end of the year, till December 31st, we are really moving into the energy of transformation. So for 2018 is the year of mastery. And since October of last year until October of this year, we've really been working through that mastery. But now, from October to December, we're beginning to set the core foundation for our transformation, our transmutation, our transcendence. We're beginning to evolve and start to move in that direction. And then next year it'll be much more powerful. But at the end of this year, these last 3 months, we're really setting the last 2 months, we're really setting the energies, a core foundation as we're moving into the new year. So it's amazing that we need to clear our space, we need to start setting those intentions, and we need to begin to to begin to shift. I mean, we can't, I've always said you cannot answer the same problem with the same solution, because you're going to get the same answer. So it's important that you begin to start looking at new ways of doing things and letting go of some of the old ways. And so that's part of the transformation, is that we begin to shed. We begin to shed some of the old, so we can begin to get ourselves into alignment with our thoughts, our feelings, our emotions, our actions. And when we do that, we begin to manifest much, much easier.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
All right. Wonderful. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Enjoy you coming onto the show and give us all the information.
Absolutely.
Make sure I put all of the links that you give me. I'm going to be putting those in there so everybody can get in touch with you.
Yeah.
Calendar. You still have calendars, don't you?
I have a few limited quantities, but I do have a few left. Yes, I do.
Awesome. Okay, we'll put that out there as well. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Many blessings.
I hope you enjoyed today's show, and I hope that you took away with some very, very important information about energy dragons. If it's something that you're interested in, I would ask you to explore further. You never know. Maybe this is your calling too. Take care, stay vibrationally centered, Earth Angels, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye for now. And when you put energy healing and creative visualization together, it creates something magical.